The loneliness of lacking female friendships in your 30s is a very specific type of isolation.
Nobody talks about how lonely it is to not be anybody's favorite person.
According to Psychology Today, 73% of Gen Z reports that they don't have any friends and feel completely lonely.
So I think there's something about being a young woman in this era that nobody really warns you about. And I think it's the loneliness. It feels like everyone is living in their perfect little bubble, FaceTiming their bestie at 2 a.m., having brunches and being in group chats and having girls trips to different cities. And maybe you are in some group chats and you don't really feel like you belong. Maybe you have even been, in fact, evicted from some group chats. If this is you, this video is probably for you. Hi guys, my name is Susan. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, how is it going? Listen, I know how easy it can be to start blaming yourself. Start saying things like, maybe I need to be louder, maybe I need to be more outgoing, maybe I should stop being so awkward. Let me hold your hand as I say this. You probably don't. Now, this video is definitely not an excuse for bad behavior. Some of you might actually be the problem, okay? But in many cases, maybe you're not, and that's not really the situation. And I think the hard truth, especially in this era, is that loneliness isn't just by accident. A lot of it is actually by design. One of the first things I want to talk about is how social media has become our third place. Typically, our first places are usually our homes. Our second is our work environment and our offices, right? But the third place is typically a physical location where people can socialize, connect with community. For the most part, this used to be like, church, youth groups, parks, libraries, and even your neighbors, right? Places that you can see people face to face and build some actual familiarity, see actual body language instead of inferring stuff from text messages. And wondering like why the person is being rude. Now the issue is that the third space right now is social media for a lot of us. And do I even need to start talking about all that is absolutely wrong with having social media as a third space? The most you probably do with your friends there is send them funny videos, comment and like their pictures, and that's it. If you were only connected to your friends via socials, you probably wouldn't know them well enough. You probably wouldn't know if you're going through something that is not great, right? You probably wouldn't know if they're having a serious situation in their personal lives, if that is the only way that you communicate. And when you don't know, you're not there for them, which essentially makes you a bad friend. Obviously, social media has its pros for us, especially in keeping us connected. For those of you that have had friends, from your high school, from college, maybe you're now in different cities now, social media is a great way, in fact, for people to still be able to, be in different time zones and even though you can't necessarily see each other often, it kind of still helps to fan the flame of that relationship. But it is simply not enough. Let's talk about the next point, which is how hustle culture and hyper individualism has also brought about this loneliness epidemic.
It's time for us to begin to question the intense level of individualism and self-thinking, self-love, self-care, self-fulfillment, self-awareness. It's all about the self in front. And the presumption is that if all those levels of the self have been attended to, we will be better able to attend to other people. Have you seen at the gym how people are super engaged with themselves, lifting, but nobody's interacting with anybody? And many of these people go home and there's nobody there, huh?
Have you ever told yourself, I'll make friends later, I just need to stay on the grind now? Well, congrats, you've officially been sold the hustle culture. There's the great lock-in that is going on right now, which is a time where you're supposed to lock in on your goals and your dreams between, now, September 1st, and the end of December. The reality right now is that productivity has become our entire personality. Success is the only priority. Securing the bag matters more than people. Friendships are optional. You don't necessarily need to have friends. Community can in fact be a distraction. Cutting off toxic people sometimes slowly turns into cutting off everyone. And we easily forget that no man or woman in fact is an island. What is wild is that we've been sold the idea that success and relationships cannot coexist, and that if you want to go far, you have to go alone, which to be honest in some cases is true, but it can also be taken to the extreme as well, where people don't even want to make the effort in creating good quality relationships, right? And honestly, I think that belief is a big reason why so many of us are lonely right now. I recall spending some months with an older auntie some years back. This was like prior to COVID. After church on Sundays, she'll spend some hours, on the phone, calling her friends, family, and just chatting and having a good time with them. I always wondered how how she pulled this off, especially on Sundays. My Sundays, especially in the afternoons, I'm tired. I don't want to be doing anything. I don't want to be talking to anybody. Well, sometimes in my like really close circle, but like left to me, I'm usually tired when I get back home. I just want to rest. But this auntie that I stayed with will literally be talking to her friends, talking to family for hours, by the way. And I used to wonder how she was able to pull this off, because I just felt that would be stressful for me. But in retrospect, I actually blame social media for this, because I feel like maybe I won't feel so stressed talking on the phone if social media wasn't an option. Like if you knew that you don't have the option of just texting somebody or sending them funny videos or just, doing that half-hearted check on them every once in a while, and you knew that you actually had to call them to keep the relationship going, maybe we would invest more into our relationships. And here's what I noticed, right? Those conversations actually made her happy. It looked like she was more grounded, right? And she felt connected to those people. And I think that that's something that we are slowly letting go of, especially in our generation. Here's another reason loneliness feels worse in this era, and having friendships in general is a bit more difficult. And it's simply because people are less open. And to be honest, I get it. Some of us have been burned by past relationships and friendships that have betrayed us, ghosted us, made us replaceable. And once that happens, sometimes it can just be hard to trust someone else again. Other people are just scared of being judged. You don't want to get with this person because you are presenting just one side of yourself to them, and you don't feel free enough to show them other sides of you. Some of us, I think, are just too used to being self-sufficient, and when you have survived on your own, it literally feels safer to stay in your bubble than risk being hurt. Sometimes these walls that we build to protect ourselves can end up trapping us. Even though you feel like you're avoiding pain by not, being vulnerable enough to be in a relationship or make a new friend, you could also be reinforcing loneliness by these actions. In all of this, I don't claim, to be the expert in making friends or going out there and making all the friends you can. I myself have a small circle of friends, and I hope to also make more quality friends as time goes on. But I think here's what I've learned, right? Making more friends isn't necessarily the magical fix to loneliness. I think you can actually have friends and still feel alone if there's no real connection. Connection is when you know someone well enough such that even sometimes when you don't see them, you're not able to catch up for whatever reason, you guys still understand each other well enough. You can still pick up from wherever you left off. You know them beyond just having things in common with them, beyond just, we go to the same XXX, we go to the same gym, we have, friends in common. You actually know these people. And truthfully, these things wouldn't just start that way. Sometimes it will start from here and develops into something more. So sometimes we just don't have the patience for it to get to that point. I think this is really what a lot of us are craving, those spaces and those people that we can be ourselves with, that we can actually excel around and have a safe space in, and not just have a list of people you can share funny memes with. So where do we really go from here? To be honest, I think that if you're feeling lonely in this era, don't beat yourself up. It might not be a you problem, and it might be I think it could be a cultural problem. It could be the fact that social media makes us think that acquaintances or friends, the hustle culture that a lot of us have bought into, especially most of us that are in our 20s or 30s right now, has made us believe that relationships are distractions, in fact. And for a lot of us as well, past hurts, judgment has also made us less open to trusting people again. And this lack of safe third spaces, like spaces outside our work and our home, means that we are pretty much stuck online. And if you want to have something more real and something more authentic, you might need to go the extra mile. Okay, sometimes being able to build this connection, even though it builds so slowly, might be you taking the bold step to open up to one person, to be brave enough to go first and not wait for people to be friends or want to be friends with you. You also be friendly. The Bible tells us that if you want to make friends, you be friendly. Sometimes you might think that the problem is yourself, but the truth and the reality is that we are living in a system that is designed to isolate you. But the good thing is that we can also realize that we can, in fact, create little pockets of groups and of safety, even with this system, starting from choices that we make, communities that we choose to be, making a real friend and actually keeping in touch with them and actually being their friend, not just sending them memes. Because at the end of the day, we really weren't built to do life alone. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. In what ways would you say you're currently dealing with loneliness personally? Let me know in comments. I'm really excited to hear and to read. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.